channel. As always, I am very excited for today's video, and this one, as you can tell from the title, is going to be a what I eat in a day / like kind of day in my life. And this video is going to include my lower body glutes and hamstrings workout for my relaunch of the Bloom program on my website, opshape.com. If you don't know already, my name is Samantha, and I'm a certified personal trainer and a weight loss specialist. And I'm also the owner of my own personal training business, Optimal Shape. And as I was saying before, on my website, opshape.com, I have a couple of different workout programs. And recently I just relaunched a spring program from last year that I have now updated due to the newfound knowledge that I have and with the new experience I have with training. So you can go ahead and check that out. I'll leave a link in the description. But anywho, that is actually what I'm going to do right now. I'm about to head to a gym that's 45 minutes away to go film this. I also am heading to that gym now because I am going to be canceling that membership. The only reason I had it in the first place is because it was pretty dead, and I don't like filming when there's a lot of people around because I get a little uncomfortable and I don't want to make other people feel uncomfortable. But I'm finally at a place in my life right now where I feel comfortable filming at the gym that I work at, and I'm just kind of trying to find ways to make others not feel super uncomfortable about it either. So I'm going to head there, do the workout, and then cancel my membership. But before we get into any of that, if this is your first time seeing my face, hi, my name is Samantha, or Sammy for short. And like I said earlier, I'm a certified personal trainer as well as a weight loss specialist. So if any of that is of any interest to you, then please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you can be informed when I upload all of my future content. You can also go ahead and follow me on Instagram and TikTok at Sammy for short. Now, with all that being said and out of the way, let's jump in to this video. Now, before I get into that actual workout, like I said, this is a little bit of what I eat in a day. So in the beginning of this video, you probably saw clips from my breakfast. What I had for breakfast was pretty much, I have the same thing every single day. So it's 2 eggs with pepper and tahini spice, and I make 2 pieces of bacon. And then I used to, if you followed me for a while, I used to have toast with that, and I put the eggs on the toast. But now I've kind of cut back on the toast because I am getting ready for more of a kind of mini cut, if you will. So I'm cutting back on the toast, and I'm just having fruit as my carbs. So I had watermelon, cantaloupe, and strawberries. And then with that, I like to incorporate some greens, and I like to incorporate pineapple as well. If you know, you know. So I just had a green smoothie with mixed greens, pineapple, almond milk, and a banana and cucumber. So that was my breakfast. Again, it's the same thing I pretty much have all the time. And I got off work early today, so I came home to grab a little snack before I head to the gym. So I just had a protein bar. It's the perfect protein bar. It's my favorite one ever, and I really like the dark chocolate chip. Hands down the best one. And then I also had a cheese stick to go along with that. So that's what I've had so far today. I'm not going to have my lunch until after I come back from the gym. Not sure exactly what time that'll be, but we're just gonna head on straight into this workout now. Starting off this workout with some dynamic stretching, we're gonna start with some deep squats into forward folds. So what I do here is I squat down nice and low. If you need to stay higher, you can, but I really try to get my butt kind of almost all the way to the ground, and I bring my elbows to the inside of my knees, bring my chest up, and then straighten my legs, touch my toes, try to get a big stretch in the back of the hamstrings. If you can't touch your toes, that's okay. Just try to reach down as low as you can. But a good tip for being able to touch your toes is if you actually put your fingers underneath of your toes first and then straighten your legs, you're actually able to get a deeper stretch and be able to touch your toes. Next, you're going into hip circles. So you're going to bring one knee up towards your chest at a time, then bring it out to the side and circle it around and down. And then you're just going to alternate legs here. Try to keep your balance as best as possible. If you need help with that, you can keep your core nice and tight, look straight ahead, try to keep your chin high, but look at something that's not moving. That way your eyes don't follow it, and you're better able to have better balance and stabilization from there. Next, going into inchworms, you're going to stand at the top of your mat, nice and tall, and then bring your hands down towards the ground in front of you, and then walk your hands out to a plank position, and you're gonna inch your toes up towards your hands. So you're just kind of walking your toes up towards your hands, keeping your legs as straight as possible. That way you're really feeling a big stretch in the back of those legs. Also, if I've never mentioned before, what we're doing is called dynamic stretching, and the reason you want to do dynamic stretching before a workout is to help get your body prepared for movement and stretch without over lengthening the muscle, which could potentially lead to injury in the future. So again, you're just walking your hands out to a plank, walking your feet into a forward fold, and then crawling your hands back out into a plank once again. Next, going into the world's greatest stretch. That is actually the name of it, and I do personally believe it's the greatest. Like, this is one of my favorite stretches ever. A lot of my clients, however, would disagree with me because it is a little bit challenging. But what you're going to do is you're going to start with one foot forward. The opposite leg is going to be straight back behind you with your knee off of the ground, and whatever foot is back, so for me that's my left foot, so if your left foot is back, your left hand is in front of you on the ground right underneath that shoulder, and then your right arm would come up towards the ceiling. You would lift your chest up towards the ceiling, opening up real big, and then you're going to twist down towards center, bringing your hand to the opposite side and dropping that elbow down towards the ground. And then you're just going to repeat that motion for 30 seconds on each side. And then you're going to go into some lateral lunges. So you're going to have your feet nice and wide, wider than hip distance apart, and you really want to drop your hips down and back to get nice and low to the ground. And then you're going to bend one knee at a time, straighten the opposite leg, leaning side to side, back and forth. If you need to stand higher for this, you can do it as well. You don't have to get as low as me. You can also either have your hands on the ground or hold them up towards your chest. I showed both options here, so whichever one is best for you. I do a little bit of a pulse, but you do not have to add that. Now we're going into the movement prep portion. So the difference between warming up and the movement prep is that now you are working more towards like body weight exercises to prepare you for the movements in the workout. So as you see here, I'm starting off with glute bridges. I have my feet firmly planted on the ground, toes pointed forward. Knees are bent, my knees are up towards the ceiling, keeping my core nice and tight, have my hands at my sides, and I'm going to lift my hips up, squeeze my glutes at the top, hold for a second, and then drop them back down slightly. I'm not really touching the mat with my butt. If you do, just make sure that it's a light tap. You're not arching your back, you're not dropping all your weight down to the ground. You're bringing your whole body in alignment, all in one moving portion, and you're not letting that weight fall all the way down. Then I know this is kind of hard to see, but I went on the stair climber for about 10 minutes, and I just like doing this as a warm-up now instead of a cool down, which has been something that's changed in the last year. Then I'm going to start with the actual workout. So I'm going to be starting with some deadlifts. For this move, I started just warming up with the bar. I don't lift a lot of crazy heavy weight. I'll make a whole video on my opinion on heavy weightlifting in the future. But basically what you're going to do is you're going to have your feet start about hip distance apart, toes pointed forward, and then you want to keep your core braced nice and tight, almost like somebody's trying to punch you. And then you'll hold the bar up, keep your shoulders down away from your ears, small bend in the elbow to protect the elbows, and then you're going to drop your hips down and back. So this is all coming from your lower body to start. So you want to sit your hips down and back before your upper body comes forward. Your upper body only leans forward as a result of the hips coming down and back. Then you'll press through all four corners of the feet as you press up, push up from those legs, bringing the barbell up towards your hips. So it lowers down to either where the plates are touching or to where the bar is in line with the middle of your shin. You want to make sure that you're also breathing throughout this movement, so make sure that you are exhaling as you press up. So during the explosive part of the movement, you are exhaling, and then you'll inhale as you passively come down towards the ground. With each set, I did increase the weight as well. And you're doing 4 sets, so the first set you're doing with 10 reps, then you'll increase the rate and do 8, increase the weight and do 5, and then increase the weight and do 3. So as you're increasing the weight, you are decreasing the reps. That way you're properly able to move through that movement pattern. Next, you're going to be doing single leg RDLs. Now, for me, I personally like to do this on a Smith machine, and I will have a TikTok video of how I normally like to do this. However, this gym does not have a Smith machine, so I did more of a B stance. What you're going to do is have one foot slightly in front of the other for this B stance if you are using a barbell, and have that other toe behind you with the heel slightly lifted. So you're not putting a lot of pressure in that back foot. And then the difference between this and a normal RDL is you're not adding like kind of a squat into it as well. You're just solely sitting those hips back and coming forward. It is all coming from that lower body. You really have to use the mind to muscle connection to push out with the glutes. And just like before, your upper body doesn't come forward until your lower body pushes back. So it only moves forward as a result of those hips hinging backwards. Now, if you're doing this on a Smith machine, you would want to keep the same concept in mind of sitting your hips back first, keeping your core tight, and only allowing your upper body to come forward as a result of your hips coming back. So keeping that straight line from your head to your tailbone the entire time. And you'll have a slight bend in that front knee as well. And you're pressing all of your weight into that front foot. The back leg now, instead of having a B stance where that toe is still supported on the ground, you would lift that foot all the way up. Now you can still do that B stance with the Smith machine if you'd like, but I enjoy lifting my leg up because I feel like, one, I can get more weight going into that supporting leg, and I really feel a lot more in that glute as opposed to having my foot on the ground. But also I like to work on my balance and stabilization, and this is a lot easier to do with the Smith machine because it helps keep you balanced and stable as opposed to doing it with the barbell. So either option is okay, but generally I created this workout program with the intent that it would be done with the Smith machine. But use whatever you have available to you and either do that B stance or the single leg, so one leg comes up behind you. And you're not lifting it too high up, so you don't want to bring that head above the or that foot above the head, but you want to keep it either in alignment or just have that toe slightly down lower. If you can't lift your foot up as high, no problems. That's totally okay. Do whatever range of motion works best for you. Now, the next exercise for the program is supposed to be a prone leg curl to a single leg curl. However, at this gym, they do not have one of those. They just have the normal seated leg curl. So that's what I ended up doing today. And if your gym doesn't have one of these, then feel free to do it how I did it as well. Basically, I just use a seated leg curl machine, bending my knees down and then straightening my legs. There's no any type of fancy form behind this. Just try to make sure your back's not arching too much off of the seat. You'll notice here that mine kind of is, just because I'll be honest, I don't fit on these machines most of the time. That's why I prefer the prone leg curls, because I never feel like I'm getting myself close enough to where I need to be set up for this machine properly, but that's because I'm short. So I did, I believe, 3 sets of maybe 10 here this day. I honestly can't remember, but if you're doing the prone leg curl, I'll put a clip in of that right now. So if you are doing a prone leg curl, what you would do is just lay on your stomach and then adjust the weight to a little bit heavier than you may think. And you want to have either your ankles or the back of your shins on the bottom part of the machine. I will say I prefer it to be on the shins. However, again, I'm very short, so that doesn't normally happen for me. It's normally along my ankles. And then what you're going to do is just bend your knees, bringing your feet up towards your tailbone or towards your butt, and then lowering back down, but make sure you're not fully straightening out through the legs. You want to keep a slight bend just so you have a little bit more time under tension, which is extremely important for building that muscle. And you also want to make sure that you're not over lengthening at any point. So you always want to keep a small bend in that knee. You are going to be doing 15 of those. And then you will lower the weight and just use one foot now to bring it up 8 times on each side. So it's the same concept, same move, but now instead of both legs bending at the same time, you're having one, which will mean that you will need to lessen the weight quite a bit. And you're going to be doing 3 sets of that. Next, you're going into dumbbell single leg hip thrust. So you will need a bench or some type of platform for this to support your upper body and your shoulders. So you will rest the upper part of your back on the bench. You can have one hand out to the side if you need the support, but you also don't need to. And then you're going to have one dumbbell. Have a decent amount of weight here because your lower body can handle a lot more than your upper body majority of the time. You'll have one foot firmly planted on the ground, toes pointed forward, and you're going to have a bend in that knee. The opposite leg is going to stay nice and straight out in front of you, and your foot is ideally not really touching the ground. It might tap down just a little bit, but you want to make sure that you are just lifting your hips up nice and high, then lowering back down, lifting your hips up and lowering back down, much like those glute bridges we did in the beginning, but you have one leg straight now and you are elevated on the bench. Make sure you squeeze your glutes at the top and then lower down. When you lower down, you want to keep your chin tucked into your chest so you're not looking back behind you and arching your neck. And you also don't want to be arching your back, so you want to keep your core nice and tight, bringing your whole torso down at the same time, and then pressing back up with those hips. Kind of like an RDL, but you are in a lying down position. And you will be doing this 2 sets for 10 reps on each side. And finally, you can't see this very well, but you'll be ending with a superset of Bulgarian split squats to dumbbell RDLs. So really, you're doing this all in one motion. So you'll have one foot up on a bench behind you. Ideally, I do actually like a lower platform for this, but you can do whichever you have around. And you'll have one foot out in front of you. You're going to sit your hips back and down towards that heel for the Bulgarian split squat. So you're not just lunging down, you're really lunging and hip hinging whilst almost squatting at the same time. It's really 3 moves incorporated in one. So you're sitting your hips down and back, bringing your chest slightly forward, and then you'll come up to standing, keeping that leg straight. Bring the dumbbell down towards your knee and sit your hips back just like the RDLs we did earlier, but now it's only on one leg. And trust me, you are going to feel such a crazy burn in your glutes. This is one of my favorite ones. I incorporate it every single week because it's just so good. And then after this in the program, you would go into a core cool down, which is going to include some leg drops. In the beginning, you also are supposed to be doing a boat pose and a dead bug move. I'll do a whole ab workout in a separate video. And then you would be stretching with some forward folds, lunges, straddle stretches, and groin stretches. But the stretching is really kind of up to you what you're feeling in that day. Just make sure that you end the workout with some type of stretching. So I just got back from that gym, and it turns out I can't cancel my membership unless I pay like a $200 cancellation fee because I'm still in my first year contract. So I've worked at plenty of gyms before. I understand cancellation fees, but $200 is a bit much. So luckily I like 2 of the people that work there. Like, they're like some old friends of mine from one of my previous jobs. So I'm like, okay, I guess you guys just get to see more of my face now for the next couple months because I'm not paying a $200 cancellation fee right now. The whole point was to save money. I'm just gonna have to start filming there at least once a week, or at least going to work out there once a week regardless of filming, just so that I'm getting use out of the membership and it's not, that money is not going to waste. But anywho, I am back home now and I am going to eat my lunch. I'm gonna be honest, I'm on my period right now. And the reason I bring that up is because when I'm on my period, I'm honestly not very hungry, but I still want to show you guys what I would normally eat. And I know I need to have a sufficient amount of calories to fuel myself for my workout. So I'm about to make what I've been making for the last couple weeks. It's a brown rice bowl with ground chicken, goat cheese, and then green peppers, diced green peppers, and tomatoes. So I'm gonna have that, and while I'm eating that, I'm also gonna try and make dinner for tonight. Tonight's dinner is something I haven't made yet. It's going to be, I believe, some ground beef with sweet potatoes, peppers, mushrooms, zucchini, and onions, I think. I can't remember the recipe off the top of my head, but that's what we're gonna go for to try and have an overall well-rounded meal. But now I'm gonna go eat my lunch, make some dinner, and pick up my son from school. And I have to say, this dinner was absolutely a 10 out of 10. I've been making it every week since filming this video. It's so good. It's very nourishing, healthy, but like I don't know what it is. It's really simple, but I actually really enjoy it. And I've been avoiding doing meals like this, but I think I'm gonna do a lot more of it because it just makes me feel really good, feel really healthy, and it tastes delicious as well.
taste the smell. It does not taste like Gatorade.
What does it taste like?
I don't know. Taste it.